It is wet, wet, wet today. The river is full, fast. There's hidden logs in the water. Duckies are loving the water. It's been raining for a few days since we've been back from Taupo. It's not cold, it's just wet. I think these cameras are allowed to get wet.
Is your camera waterproof?
I think we might have to wait until we get under a tree.
Okay.
This is a tui eating a flax flower. They love them. And they move so fast I never get a photo. Bounce around eating the nectar. And they don't care about the rain. The flowers are still sweet. The current weather kind of fits the mood, and today I had to buy 2 sympathy cards. In the last 2 weeks, and just people that we know, we've lost 2 people. One guy who died in an accident, and the other was a teenage son that died. You know, it's unknown yet. And so I'm just really aware that at this time of year, like, we're having all this celebratory things like lights and festivities, but for some this year it's going to be their first year without their loved one. And I know that there are probably many people that they've many years without their loved ones. Writing these sympathy cards, I'm realizing, like, how do you reconcile the grief and the sadness with the gratitude, with the thankfulness of what you have? And I think you reconcile it by honoring the sadness and just being okay with the grief. Last night we found out this young boy has been missing for weeks, and last night we found out what had happened, and they'd found him. It just really hits home to me because I have teenage boys. Well, I have boys and one is a teenager, and I just can't even comprehend what it must feel like for that family, and I don't even like the way it feels when I do try and understand. And I just wanted to acknowledge that today. I wanted to acknowledge the fact that for some this isn't a fun time, and part of it is just being with those people in those moments, and I just wanted to talk about it and just sympathize. You know, the cards that I'm writing are in sympathy, and it's like, and then what do I write? What words are going to fix this? Because no words will bring him back. And James deals with this a lot, whether it's loss of their health or loss of loved ones or loss of a marriage. You know, there's all sorts of grief that people go through. How do you, James, think you reconcile grief at this time of year?
I know from families I work with, because I often get involved when the crisis has happened. Right, so like I'm a minister, so I take the funeral for the family, and it's just the start of the journey. The funeral is just the start, and they've got to go home and wake up the next day and the loved one's still gone, and the next day and the next day, and life rolls mercilessly on by, and for them everything's changed. What seems to help one is they appreciate people acknowledging it, you know, like remembering them and thinking of them, so not ignoring it.
So
like
even though it's difficult for me to write a card and try and express how I'm feeling,
yeah,
I have to.
Yes, because some
like
people
I'm sitting
don't.
there thinking, what am I going to say?
Yeah.
How could this possibly help in any way, shape or form?
That helps. Some people avoid, like friends stop talking to them or cross the road and duck into shops because they're just not sure what to say. But turning up and saying, look, if you're hard, wanting to talk about the deceased,
yes,
you know, it's quite important, not hiding it away. And the other way thing is, has to be acknowledged. So blokes more than women, I think, sometimes try to bury difficult emotions and not want to deal with them. So Christmas comes around and they've done the funeral, I think, oh, I'll be okay, and they're not okay on the day.
Yeah.
And then they have strong emotional reactions and think, well, maybe something's wrong with me, and it's not. It's the human factor. So it tends to go better if you acknowledge it, that you make a plan to do something on these significant days, birthdays, anniversaries, a toast to the deceased, to the loved one, or say it's the loss of a relationship, to acknowledge that your first Christmas by yourself, you know, when you had a relationship of significance end, to acknowledge that, not to bury it, you know, because it's hard and lonely and rough.
I really just wanted today to acknowledge that there is loss at this time of year. For these families, they have lost their father and they have lost their husband, and the other family has lost their son and their brother. I guess just know that we as a community, and I'm pretty sure those of you that have people around you, or those of you that are in your own communities, people really love you, and they really would do anything to take this burden from you, and that you do not have to be alone. There are bound to be many people around that would happily share your grief with you, even in this festive season. season.
And if you know someone who's grieving, drop them a note.
Yes.
Say hi, say you're thinking of them. You know,
Yes.
it's a tough time for them. Acknowledge it, don't ignore it.
Yes.
It's from the families I talk to, they really appreciate it.
So that was rather heavy, but it's also necessary, because today my heart has been very heavy. Like, I think of it and I just want to cry. And yes, for the one that is lost, but mostly for the ones that have remained, because they're the ones that have to live that out day after day. Some would say it's like they have lost a limb, you know, and now they have to live their life. Yeah, my heart goes out to you. Bless you this Christmas. Bless you as you prepare to navigate this season without them, as hard as that is, and as much as many people would love to be able to take that from you. And we'll go back to our walk in the rain. It very much represents how I feel today. So thank you for listening to us, thank you for watching. I appreciate you so much, and until next time, bye for now.